So, I need a new union for my Pentair Superflow variable speed pump. This one here I used for an 1.5-inch application. I want to reuse it for a 2-inch application now, but it's already been glued in there. No worries, I'll just buy another, right? So I take a look, and the pricing that I saw available to me up here in Canada was $120 for a new set of unions, and that does not include tax or shipping. So it's almost $150, and I know our Canadian money is kind of funny to you if you're in the US, but that's like $100, over $100 US even, for unions. Now, I checked in the US. The US pricing is much more reasonable, $29 US, which is like $37.50 Canadian, something like that. I would buy it instantly at $37.50. I'll be borked if I'm going to pay $150 for a set of unions. So let's go ahead and strip this thing out of here. The first thing that I've done is I've cut it flush, as you can see there. I'm going to take this hacksaw blade and I'm going to score the inside in a couple of spots, and then I'm going to use a heat gun, gently heat the whole thing. Note I really said gently there, as opposed to burn the heck out of the thing with a torch or a heat gun. We're going to gently heat the whole thing, primarily focusing on the inside ring here. Eventually I'll be able to take one of these small screwdrivers and take that little piece that I'm going to cut out, because I'm going to make 2 cuts. So I'm going to remove the middle section, and it's going to be, let's say it's going to be about the thickness of the head of that screwdriver. That's what I'm aiming for. Once you have a piece out, then it enables you to strip the inside pretty easily. You heat it up again, grab it with, maybe some side cutters or some needle nose pliers or something, and then roll. You don't like rip it out, you roll it out. And if it's warm, it shouldn't break the fitting. It doesn't always work. They make tools for this, like a reaming tool is one of the ways that you can do it. But I've always just done it this way. I've done it this way for 20 years and it usually works. So I'm going to do it now, and it's going to work again, because I'm not going to pay $150 for a new set of unions. Eyes aren't quite as good as they used to be. Kind of hard to see what I'm doing. I'll show you once I get it started. Okay, so you can see what I'm starting to do there. So that has to, I'm going to continue that cut until I get through that inside glued fitting, but not the outside part. And then ultimately I'm going to have 2 of these like pretty close next to each other. Oh my gosh, look, a dinosaur. Come here, buddy. I'll help you escape. Oh, he's too smart for me. Million years of evolution. Okay, we'll stay out of this area because it's going to be heating up over here. You don't want any part of that. Okay, let's go. Released to the wild.
Crocky, look at the size of that one.
Almost there. It's not too bad right there. I don't want to mar the inside or the outside fitting here because I'm going to be reusing it. So that's one. Now we need one more of those. Just a tiny bit more. Okay, so now when we heat this up, I mean, we're going to heat the whole thing, but for now I want to just kind of primarily focus on that little landing strip that I cut out there. We're getting there, but it's kind of a slow process to heat PVC properly. You can't just blast it with heat. Like, I mean, you could cook the thing, but what you want to do is kind of heat it slowly and evenly. You hit it with heat, and that heat kind of disperses throughout the plastic. Give it a second, give it more heat, and slowly and slowly. What you don't want to do is just cook the thing immediately, because we're going to damage and warp, and then it's not going to be any good anymore. So it's about a slow and steady approach to applying heat when you're doing this kind of work. Even just 1 second, kind of holding it in place, and you can see it starts to crisp up there pretty quickly. You can see it's starting to give way. I might even be able to just grab that with my needle nose pliers here now. And again, like I said, peel it. If you peel the fitting out, it puts a lot less stress on the outside, less likely to crack. When I'm putting this through and prying, that's when it's likely to break. So I think I'm just going to give it a little more heat and then try to pry it out. Ideally, I want to get that landing strip center channel out there completely. If I can, I will, but I might not even have to here. That sounded bad. You don't want to cook it, you don't want to melt it, but kind of more heat is better when it comes to doing something like this, just rolling the fitting out. You can see it start to peel away there, I think. You can see that. Let's see if I can get that middle piece out since it's coming out so readily now. There it is. Okay. Here we go. So I've got the center piece broken out now. That's kind of the hard part. Once you've got that done, there's a good chance you're going to get the rest of it. It's just a slow roll and peel here. If it gets really hard, kind of stop and maybe give it a little more heat, because you don't want to break it, and you shouldn't need to. Just even pressure. I think we're going to have success here. Well, I'm going to give it a little more heat there because I can feel some resistance. Oh, I think I might have just tripped a breaker. All right, no more heat. Actually, the other side is pretty malleable still. It's funny that I just tripped a breaker like that. I heard it trip too. Or maybe the heat gun just gave up the ghost there. It is pretty old. Because it wasn't on, I don't see how it could have tripped the breaker. Boom, there we go. So when I go to reuse this, which I will absolutely be doing as opposed to spending $150, I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. It's actually pretty good already. But when I hit that inside with primer, it really helps to remove a little bit of, kind of that junk and residue that you see there. Normally with primer, I kind of hit it with primer, wait a second, move on to the glue or the cement. But in this case, I'm going to hit it with primer and maybe hit it with primer again and use a little bit more force than normal just to make sure I even out some of that unevenness there. But at least I can reuse the thing, because I would have been really disappointed to have to spend that much money on I only need one union. I hope you found this helpful. Back really quick to explain, I stripped out the inside here because I'm going to use 2-inch. Yes, it's going to go on the outside. I could have just, connected right onto it here. But the problem with that is I'd have this interior fitting disrupting the flow, and that would definitely not be something that I wanted. That's why that has to go. And I'm still going to use the primer to kind of smooth that out a little bit. But at that point, I'm not going to be gluing anything into it or cementing anything into it.